Let's be honest with each other. How many times have you answered a text from someone else right in the middle of a conversation with someone who is physically present? How many times have you isolated on your couch and watched Netflix or scrolled through your Facebook? How often do you have problems spelling a word because in the informal setting of social media, spelling is not a concern? If you're like many Americans, you probably answered fairly high numbers on each of these questions. I will not go to the extreme and say that we should ditch all technology because that would cause many more problems than it would solve. However, this reliance on technology is much more prevalent than most people realize and it needs to be decreased. There is not a lap without a laptop or a hand without a phone. Replacing people and communications with technology has gone far enough. First of all, the overuse of technology can take away so much time from the learning of each individual student. Technology often needs troubleshooting because there are so many little parts and connections that, if wrong or broken, could mean hours of work to fix and a lack of ability to use that technology. On top of that, there is also what we call operator error, which is most common in the people who did not grow up in the computer generation, aka all the teachers. I cannot even count the number of times that I spent the class doing nothing because the teacher couldn't get his presentation to work and therefore had nothing prepared for a lesson. How sad is it to think that you are sending your children to school to sit at their desk and learn nothing new? Another thing is that children are initially learning how to write, but then as they get into middle and high school, it is a lost art. When I was young, I was taught cursive because it was useful. I can honestly tell you that from middle school on, I never, not once, wrote in cursive, which according to recent brain studies, stimulates twice as many brain synapses as does typing. It has been shown to improve SAT scores in children down the road as well. With almost every assignment, it was not allowed to handwrite any writing assignment. It was a requirement that they were typed. This leads to problems in spelling and grammar when students are asked to handwrite an assignment because we rely on spell check. A study was done by the British Journal of Psychology that showed that people who text often are less likely to accept new words into their vocabulary. That can be a major hindrance when students become college level and need that extensive vocabulary in order to create a college entrance letter that is adequate enough to get accepted. As people become more reliant on technology, we are becoming less reliant on our own knowledge and what we could learn because Google knows all. This is leading us into a state of codependence on technology because students are not expanding their minds as far as they could. Secondly, there is a plethora of awful effects upon our communications with others. One such effect is that people often say things through media that they would not ever say in person. Those quick and often rash decisions can lead to lasting dissatisfaction in one's life. There can be quick and easy harsh words because you don't have to see the listener's face as you speak them. Relationships can begin and end with just a click of a button. There truly are things that are better left unsaid, and it is so much easier to say those things through media, and quite often it happens. There is also the unfortunate matter of it creating children who are incapable of carrying on a conversation in person. Melissa Ortega, a child psychologist, stated they don't know how to handle conflict face to face because so many things happen through some sort of technology. The high school kids who I do see will be checking their phones constantly. They'll use it as an avoidance strategy. Another thing I'm noticing is that they may have trouble initiating interactions, those small talk situations. They don't have as much experience because they are not engaging in it ever. They always have something else going on. Even on the rare occasion that people can make communication begin, it often lacks the intimacy that it used to. A conversation without intimacy lacks seriousness. If people are unable to communicate about anything deeper than the weather, then we have failed as a civilization. Finally, some people also take that lack of communication I spoke of one step further and begin to isolate themselves. Instead of going out to catch up with friends, they go through Facebook. Instead of being with their family, they're playing a game on their phone. Like Ms. Ortega stated, people use their phones as avoidance strategy, which frequently causes addictions and even isolation from the ones who love and care about them. Albert Einstein stated, obviously quite long ago, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. That was in Albert Einstein's time. How far have we come since then? How much more technology do we have? And how much more accurate is that statement? In conclusion, I must quote a song that sums up where we've come from to what we have ended up at now. Hey, whatever happened to waiting your turn? Doing it all by hand. Because when everything is handed to you, It's only worth as much as the time put in. It all just seemed so good the way we had it, back before everything became automatic. We have taken the effort out of acts that used to be genuine. A get well card handwritten with love has now turned into an e-card that is pre-made and pre-written. Friends that one used to go out with are now kept in touch with through Facebook or texting. Each one of you can take action and change the direction that our generation is headed. Take the time to put that limit on technology and open your time up to the real personal communication with those around you. Reduce your children's media time to an hour or two per day. You don't have to answer the text the moment that you receive it. And don't constantly have the TV on in the background. Those are just a few examples of what you personally can do. Does it really sound so difficult to change?